Today you're going to see something that I haven't seen myself for 20 years. We're going to look into these cupboards, and it's been a long time, and I never thought I'd look in them again. So here it is, probably my last look at all the stuff that's hiding here. If the house was 3 times this large, I'd probably display some of this stuff because it's pretty graphic and pretty amazing. And it's all from the 30s or before, and it's an era when all the toys were great. Okay, let's open up the first showcase. This is one I have a pretty good idea what's in there. Oh my God. Well, I'll show you this. Here's a bunch of really rare Schoenhut figures. These were Schoenhut marionettes, much rarer than the standing figures. And I just never got around to stringing them. But these are Boob McNutt, Happy Hooligan. I really should string these. And even if I didn't string them, I could put elastic in them. I used to have the figure, because I don't have a Boob McNutt in the collection, but here they are. Spectacular, really. The box isn't great. The Mickey Mouse ball trap game. Can you see this thing? This is probably French. Oh, here's these elder pith balls. And here's the classic, well, there we go. These are the classic Disney characters of the golden era. No Donald Duck, Horace, Minnie, Mickey, Pluto, and Clarabelle. This was a game in which, very exciting, we had a little shooter, and one would shoot these balls, which are just the opposite of all missing. And you'd shoot these are some kind of pith balls. Material like this would often be incorporated with static electricity because they would take an electric charge and dance like crazy. Anyway, one simply shot and tried to get in the different slots, and there's a number for scoring. Okay, graphically pretty exciting. Here's something extraordinary. Look at the way this box is constructed. It's been wrapped in silver paper, and then all the panels are applied to each side, and the label is only this little thing up in the corner. And this is just the opposite of what we learned at Color Forms. Toy stores had room for everything at one time because there were so few toy stores. But at Color Forms we came to realize that the entire contents of what's in that package has got to appear on the end panel. The name, the picture, the company, the whole thing has got to be there because they're stacked in shelves, and that's all you're shown. In these days, you saw it all. So you saw the whole game if you saw any of it. So here's this game, which is never found in a box. It was also sold out of a box. This is the boxed version. Mickey Mouse Coming Home game. As I fumble with it. It's pretty amazing graphics. Can you get some of those on the camera? This is also sold like this, with just this game board and a little tiny box. I have the smaller version up there. You know, I've never seen this game in this state. Here's the same thing as the Big Bad Wolf. By this time, they upped the size of the label.
It's like brand new. Wow.
It is brand new, Bubby. Not only is it brand new, here's the instructions. Can you see this?
And what age is that from? 1930s?
About 1934, I would say. And look at this. I wasn't aware of this. Oh, this is weird. Here's the original dice. And here are the official non-Disney piggies. Little lead piggies. There's a whole box full of them. You know, it's quite amazing to me that a cartoon that lasts 7 minutes and is probably showed 1 month, and if you're in the cinema that month and you see it, you see it. How a 7-minute cartoon could become a whole Disney legendary fable of the Big Bad Wolf and the Three Pigs. And of course, this was also the Depression era, so the idea of the Big Bad Wolf coming to your door was pretty popular. Can you see this thing? Graphics on this are just extraordinary. Check this out. Is that incredible or what?
Pristine.
I mean, the repetition of these characters is so neat. And then when you shot them over, you would see your score. And
Come with a little gun.
comes with this gun. Here it is. Get arrested for that today, my God, it'd be confiscated. Can you imagine a toy for a kid with a gun in it? And it actually shoots things? That was the idea. You shot them, and well, it was a shooting game. How times have changed. Oh, God. Okay, Seven Dwarf and another shooting game. This one's English. And it works on a similar principle. Here the dwarfs are walking across a log, and you peg them off as they walk, as they travel. There's no gun with this one.
And what happens when you hit them with anything pop up?
They would just topple over. I see they're being held up now by a piece of tape that's been on there for probably 100 years. Okay, what else is in here? Ah! Well, what the heck? Apparently I have another one of these. Who knew? The same thing again. Well, that's where the other balls went. Okay, I can put some balls in here afterwards. Oh, wait a minute, there's more. Okay, this is the Mickey Mouse yarn set. They're wonderful graphics. They're basically sewing cards. And, oh, there's a bunch of them. The yarn is horrible. These same cards with all these little holes in it for sewing were also sold in small boxes with rolling balls. So the idea was to roll the balls and try to fill the holes with the tiny BBs. Mickey Mouse art set. Oh, the top is hinged. Some kid's been using this, wasn't me. Stencil, nicely colored, really. He's done a nice job of coloring these images. And here's the original Mickey Mouse eraser.
Let's zoom in on that.
Got it?
Yeah. You know, Frank Rosetta painted with the Mickey Mouse watercolors because he said they were brighter than regular watercolor.
You know, Maurice Sendak did all of his work with a little box of kitty watercolors.
Isn't that amazing?
Those little poster paints, like 8 colors. And they don't fade. Well, here's a rather interesting thing. It's a total abstraction. The radio game. Look at the abstract cover for this set. I mean,
that's kind of what they're trying to recreate now with just kind of the abstract. You know.
well, this was a recognizable object because I guess this is what a radio looked like. And then here's a map of the United States, and I guess you don't ask me how it worked. But interestingly enough, I have down here on the lower shelf, I actually have a toy radio that's directly related to that. I mean, this is really the very beginning days of radio. I don't know how this oh, you actually got a signal, you see, you can hear it. I guess that's where you spoke. This is like, okay, I'm going to put that up there. Oh, this is fabulous. This is just a fabulous object. Mickey Mouse Circus game. They use the same graphics over and over and over again here, but let's see if I can take this out and actually show you how this worked. This is pretty incredible. I have another one of these downstairs. I remember when I got this thing, I was making $200 a week, and this was $75. And I ran uptown. Someone told me it was there. I ran uptown. I came home with this, slinking home with this in a playbound paper bag. And when it works right, isn't that amazing? Look at that. Well, in those years, all the stuff was great. It was all great. Oh, this is even more spectacular. Mickey Mouse Helter Skelter. Look at the graphics of that. Isn't that incredible? Can you see that? Okay, what's inside here is a surprise. Not at all what you would expect. Put that in there. Let me get this right. And your marbles would roll down the ramp and then into one of these holes.
Do you have a marble? We can try it?
Yeah, they're underneath. You really think this is going to work? I don't think so. This one ain't going to work. No, this one is going to end up as a lost marble. But I'll give it a try. I've lost some of my marbles. Oh, look at these. Is that beautiful or what? Can you see that? The marble is iridescent. They're totally magical marbles. Okay. Please don't get lost. Here we go. I'm going to put it. Bloody. Well, it works.
Hey, cool.
It would disappear in the hole. Okay, that's it. Another Mickey Mouse bagatelle. And this one works on a different principle. This works with a shooter.
Do you have anything to shoot or no? That's like a pinball game.
It's a marble. Trust me. Imagine a marble comes out of there and falls in one of these holes. That's it. But this is English. Some nice graphics. Oh, here's something. I know what's in here. When I got the Popeye cookies in their original display with all the original boxes full of cookies, they were broken into many pieces, and people don't believe that I glued all the pieces together. But here's the pieces I didn't glue together with crazy glue. And if I was to take the time, I could probably put together another few dozen Popeye cookies. Mickey and Minnie Mouse fan picture. This is what the Disney studios would send you if you wrote a fan letter. And they go back, there's several variations of them. This is like the third one. But labor was so cheap at the Disney studios that everyone was hand-colored.
Cool.
This is truly strange. This is a game from my era, but I never saw it as a kid. So bizarre. The band concert, one of a classic Mickey cartoon, redrawn to update the characters. So they're all 50s characters or 45 characters, not the 30s. This is a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. So bizarre, honestly. Here. They're put together. They're put together. The characters, they've never been taken apart. The characters are actually made of puzzle pieces.
And then it all kind interconnects into a bandstand?
that locks together. Then you build a puzzle of the floor, and then you peg in the characters.
That's cool.
And they're all made of puzzle pieces too. And they really are interlocking because they've stayed together. True, obviously they've never been taken apart. I can't think there's many of these around. Wait a minute. Let me just look at this. Yeah, my God. Okay. Sleepy Symphonies. This is Mickey Mouse pajamas from England. Sleepy Symphonies. And inside is the original pajamas with the tag. Oh, there's a couple pairs. Blue ones and red ones. Slumberware. This is a fabulous scatterball game. There's an American version. This is the English version. On this version, every Mickey is different. On the American version, they're all the same. And this was simply a thing. Can you see how this works? You would put the top together, spin it, and that would knock the balls into the various holes. And again, you would score. You see the dilemma with these. Where am I going to display this stuff?
Yeah. Take up a whole shadow box.
Ring quoits. They're actually the rubber washers from canning jars. It's all quite graphic and wonderful. Okay, that's this cabinet. Be great stuff. This is my collection of tattooed people and circus oddities.
Which is like normal by today's standards.
You know, right? Today,
That's tame.
today. This is tame stuff. My God! And now everybody's full body tattooed. Then these people used to make a living by letting people look at it. This is something quite beautiful, quite beautiful. As Mickey treasures go, they don't get any better than this. Look at this gorgeous thing. It's a box of jigsaw puzzles, and the graphics are incredible. And so they can be appreciated. There's 4 of them, but they're in telescoping trays. Each insert is a little smaller than the one before it, and there's 4 amazing images in here. Each one more exciting than the next, and the colors. Only this one on the very top has seen the light of day. So daylight's never touched this. Never touched this, nor this. That's the other one.
Look at the colors, how well they've preserved for that long.
Well, but they've been in the dark for 75 years, isn't it? No longer than that. 80 years. And they've been in my cabinet for a lot of that time. Oh, I love this thing. This is actually on my website. Amazing piece of artwork. First of all, the colors are awful, but they're still attractive. And they're flat colors, but the artist has created the impression that it glows, which is quite amazing. And then inside is so non-Disney that it's ridiculous. It's like, reminds me of color forms, in which one puts the delicious thing on the cover and then has to reconcile the mundane, ordinary stuff inside. But look at this. Somebody put each little thing, Pinocchio's 3 noses, the donkeys, Jiminy Cricket, all the little pieces, his hat, and there's a place to put them. And somebody who wasn't in the Orient and who didn't live in an era when there were jobs that Americans won't do, had to be on the factory line putting everything together in its place. And that was 70 years ago or more, and fell out for the first time. They're just held in there by the fact that they've never been taken out before. Uh-oh. Onto the platform. Jiminy's foot. Okay. This is not in great shape. And what's inside the box is pretty awful. The cover was just pure magic. Walt Disney Characters Movie Studio to color and erect. And this came out in two versions. One with Snow White and one later one with Pinocchio. But this incredible cover. And inside is just such a letdown. And here, my dear, is the wonderful, this is the movie studio. This is the stage floor. And these are the characters. And here to color and use on the stage. I see there's Pinocchio characters in here. What a disappointment. This is another thing that reminds me very much of color forms. The box promises so much and the inside is... But this is a scrappy paint set, another character, another early character. Here's a very nice Mickey Mouse jigsaw puzzle. This is actually cut out of wood. Look at the intricacy of that thing. This is like, it's cut with some kind of jigsaw, obviously. Okay. This is what caught my eye. Well, okay. This is a little rare. This is the Coca-Cola Toonerville trolley cut out. Whole thing goes together and makes a scene from the Toonerville trolley. You know, when I was doing my website, I had lost this. I couldn't find it. Okay. Oh, these are comic postcards that you would cut out, and they would make animated comic characters. These are probably from 1905. Very early. The Captain and the Kids, Cy and Maud the Mule. Those are nice. Gee, I forgot about those. Walt Disney. Here's a whole series of European Disney cutouts that made all the early Disney characters. Little Red Riding Hood and the pigs and the wolf.
So when you're getting this stuff, were you able to get it for, did they know that this stuff was going to be valuable and charge a ton for it, or would you be able to get most of it?
Unfortunately, it got more and more expensive. That was the great double cross that nature played on me. Mother Goose Tinkle Tunes. These were, well, wait a minute, I'll show you what these were. They're quite good. They were all Mother Goose characters, and they fit on the keys of a piano. And the black keys would protrude through here, and there's a little hole, so you could put your finger down there and hit the white keys. And at the same time, the word for the music you were trying to play was up there. Well, as I was saying, you know, finding this stuff was the perfect thing for me because it was priceless. Because you couldn't put a price on it. It was valueless because nobody really valued it. And so I had found the perfect thing to collect because it was so affordable, and collecting it was just pure. This is a pretty nice piece of graphics here. Collecting it was just a pure joy. And then in stepped the dealers, and it suddenly became expensive. They realized that there was a market for this and they could make some money on it. This is very interesting. This is the one strip I have of little Sammy Sneeze. And I don't know if you can really see it, but the Sammy Sneeze is there immortalized in that carving by Charles Ponstingle. And the strip consisted of little Sammy sneezing, and whenever he did, it was a total catastrophe, and he destroyed everything, including whole cities. And this is the toy store episode. So this is when little Sammy Sneeze goes into the toy store and completely destroys it in one enormous sneeze. All right. Oh. Well, this is just a bunch of junky little stuff, but the box is the original box for one of the celluloid elephants downstairs. I don't know what else I'm going to find in here. This duck. Maybe that's a warning. Oh. Oh, here's a duck waiting where he will remain throughout eternity for to make a reparation on his hat. He's quite a wonderful duck. Yeah, it's a wind-up. He crawls along the floor, quacking. Did you catch that quack? Oh, here's a wonderful thing. One of my favorite things, so great that I had to have two of them. This is the Andy Gump Jigger. Yeah, well. There's the figure. But it's a very, very complex contraption. This is made of cast iron, and it sits aside a phonograph, and here's a platform that it dances on. When you play a 78 RPM record, then the figure would dance on them.
That is really cool.
Some amazing stuff. Some amazing stuff.
Set that up and get it working.
Well, I have one set up. It's in the other showcase.
Oh.
In my enthusiasm / greed, I felt inclined to have two. Yes, it's in the totally unattractive original box. All right, let's see. Is there anything else in here? Here's Jimmy, Jack, and Joey. And these were a set of, they're pretty good actually. These were a set of 3 ring toss clowns. And I guess they were meant to be set up in tandem, sort of like that. And then you threw all these pastel-colored cardboard rings at them. Oh, and I see they fit in slots here in the box. So it actually constructed the whole thing as a 3-dimensional assemblage. You're seeing where I get all my great toy ideas from. So I have never... Spears Picture Weaving. Oh, here's a set where you would weave these pictures with strips of paper.
Interesting. And what would that do? A form of decoration?
That would just be, you know, look what I did, and that was it. This, folks, is entertainment. Picture weaving, and this incredibly cryptic cover that promises absolutely nothing. Yeah. There's a lady's dress. Look at the buttons. With incredible Mickey Mouse fabric. I don't know if you can photograph or see that fabric, but I mean, it's really quite wonderful. It's all Mickey and Minnie Mouse. This is from the 30s, definitely. These incredible buttons. What do you do with stuff like this? Treasure. This is a letter from David Smith at the archives when I was doing a trade. This is the original ad for Outer Spacemen. These are photos taken by Bambergers when the Mickey Mouse display was being done. Here's this bloody gum wrapper for Mickey Mouse bubble gum. People are getting a fortune for those, believe it or not. In there. This is, well, this is pretty wonderful. This is a photograph of a shop window in New Jersey. And I think the photograph might well have been taken by Max Fleischer himself. It shows all the Betty Boop dolls, every variation of them. And I got that from his grandson, Kenny Nightel. The whole back, he's got the whole deal on the back. Oh, pictures of the Bamberger show, the magazine ads for it. The radio mirror, that's a fabulous cover. There used to be a Mickey Mouse, briefly, a Mickey Mouse radio show. This is the original printed typewritten sheets that went along with the second series of Outer Spacemen. My instructions to the makers in Hong Kong. Piece of Popeye sheet music. This was Paramount movie book that shows the whole Betty Boop deal. 34. Oh, wait a minute, this should tell. See, page 2 and 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Yes, this mind-boggling piece of paper made me nuts. It shows the Betty Boop products. And I've never seen that. Candy, I've got the box downstairs, and I've never seen Betty Boop and Bimbo in their racer. Oh, God. You know, in those early days, discovering this stuff, you really thought you'd live to see it. Never turned up. Sheet music for Alphonse and Gaston. Nice piece of Little Nemo sheet music. That's kind of rare. These are Mickey and Minnie cutout dolls from the wonderful Saffield Mickey and Minnie cutouts.
What would you do once you cut them out? They make like paper dolls?
They're paper dolls. They're dress-up dolls.
Cool.
Cover to the show, not Circus, that you found so interesting. This is the catalog brochure for O King Cole display, showing the different models of. This is the Mickey I have downstairs, and these are the standing figures and how they might be shown in the store. And then they were teamed up with a company that made displays that wrapped around posts and things in the department store. The price list make me crazy. $7 for the unanimated figures. $15 with a motor. The Wizard of Oz. Wonderful sheet music for Little Nemo, the Broadway production. Like 1914 or something like that. These are my autographed photographs of Mae Questel, the voice of Betty Boop. Dear Mel and Eunice.
Did you meet her? Or
She was here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She's every bit just like she is. She's Betty Boop in person.
Whoa.
Well, it's interesting because she hadn't seen a lot of the stuff that's here.
You have a whole Betty Boop showcase, don't you?
A lot of them, yeah. Oh, there's 3 or 4 of them, actually, yeah.
Cool.
This is the first Mickey Mouse book. Came in several variations in 1931.
And what do you mean, first Mickey Mouse book?
Well, there was first publication that ever showed Mickey Mouse. These seem to be the rarest of the rarest of the rare. But a few have turned up since then. There's several variations of them. This is actually quite wonderful, really. So, calendar for Hormel hams. So naturally the pigs go on the cover, you know, but the graphics for all the early Disney films right up to Snow White, and they were pretty wonderful. That's the envelope that this thing came in. Early books of sheet music of all the early Disney movie film music from the cartoons. Drawing by my friend John Fawcett. Well, this is kind of nice. This thing is the way a '78 recording of Al Jolson came packaged. It's like the first attempt at album covers. Very graphic. I'll slip this back in there. This is artwork that John Fawcett did early on. He was kind enough to give me a lot of it. Caught on film. Cut that. The first Mickey Mouse magazine.
Now, to explain that, what does that mean? First Mickey Mouse magazine of that issue or ever?
The first one ever. First one ever. It went on to run for about 5 or 6 years. All in full color. It was quite amazing stuff. All original art.
What it looks like?
Okay, all right. If you want to.
Don't take it out.
No, if you want to. I thought I was running too long here and it wasn't getting interesting, but actually the inside's really pretty wonderful.
I mean, if this is the first one ever, that's a pretty big deal.
This is it, and all these drawings, a lot of which are nonsense. Here's a connected dots, and it does a picture of Jimmy Durante with Mickey skiing down his nose.
Oh, cool colors on there too.
The colors are very nice inside. Unfortunately, they faded on the cover because I framed it and I didn't realize how badly it was fading. Like me. Like me. But there's a wealth of wonderful stuff in here. Stories.
You relied on that yellow, red, and blue.
Oh yeah, very heavy.
The main colors they must have been able to get for that.
Very well. Here it's advertising the Lionel hand car.
And you have that.
Bubby.
That's one of your favorites, isn't it?
And here's the cutouts that I showed you before. The advertisement for the. See how bright that cover was before it faded?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. All that red is gone. Yellow and blue hung in there. But
I have another copy that's I've subsequently framed because I like to look at it framed in a place where hopefully it won't fade like the last one did. Oh, here's an interesting thing. These things were 1930s predecessor of color forms. They were basically color forms without the plastic. Here's the background scene. You could put that there and turn it into the ocean or turn it into the deck of the ship and all the different characters for Popeye.
they were just paper cutouts.
Paper cutouts. One of the later,
That's pretty.
nice image, isn't it? This is one of the later issues of the Mickey Mouse magazine.
That's cool.
This was our ad for our Boutique Fantastique. It was a card, Christmas card, and a lame attempt to drum up business. But all that was hand-colored by yours truly. And hand-pasted, and we did the whole damn thing. Here's a humble little Mickey Mouse handkerchief. This is the film book for Gulliver's Travels, the Fleischer film.
Where do you see that? See that?
You want to see it? Okay, gladly. Well, this is a grand production. Gulliver's Travels was Fleischer's attempt to compete with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Now, explain to me what this is. They would put this out?
They would put this out, and this would show the licensed tie-ins with the movie.
Now, was this for the public, or was this for...
No, this was definitely for the industry. All the stuff they made. I have some of these Valentines. There's a radio. I have the version of this radio with decals for the Dione quintuplets on it. I have the Mickey version of this. It's not quite as grandiose. These are all Gulliver's Travels products.
Now, are these all the same company or all different companies?
All different companies. All different companies. They expected it to be a lot huger than it was.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Boy, oh boy, look, this was all swipe art that newspapers could pick up on to advertise the film. Look at the movie posters for this thing.
They really thought they were going to make some money.
Oh, it was going to be so huge, so huge. A Popeye coloring book. The Peter Pan Punch-Out book. I remember this when I was a kid. It was just a little...
Oh, there's a whole...
Oh, it built a whole ship. I mean, it was these Punch-Out books were quite wonderful. This is something that's quite wonderful. This is a Coca-Cola Punch-Out. This really is quite wonderful when it's constructed. It does a whole corner store of Coca-Cola. And these were also manufactured as full-size store displays. Betty Boop radio guide. She was on the radio briefly. And of course it was Mae Questel. The Coca-Cola Circus, that's another wondrous one. Moon Mullen's Punch-Out ventriloquist doll that operated. There's the thing that moved his mouth and his hands.
And his eyes. That's kind of creepy, like a little skull.
Creepy it was. You should like it. And here's another version of the Coca-Cola Circus. Here's the only Mickey I ever drew myself. It wasn't copied from something. Those were just the sheet music, just the piano. This is my English Fantasia Punch-Out.
Display downstairs?
No, this is the English version. It's all quite different. This is totally fanciful. There's a cut one and an uncut one. Well, hold on. This is quite amazing. Right smack in the center of this thing is this enormous phallic column that rises above the scene, and the whole thing. And it was all so fanciful and so unrelated, really, to the film itself. And the artist here got very carried away. It's all about the artist who did it, and more so than about Fantasia.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Beautiful, delicious, really, lyrical. And the characters were more like Greek mythology than Disney.
Look at those colors, still.
Yep.
Off the charts.
This is some of the very few things that Fantasia generated. It really didn't generate any toy product. Okay. Well, there's the American Fantasia cutout book. Doesn't look like a lot until it's punched out, but then it's incredible. Here's a Pinocchio cutout book. This is incredibly rare. The Lone Ranger Punch-Out book. Ted Hake once sold one of these for a fortune. I won't say the price, but...
He's the auction guy?
Yeah, trust me, you'd be staggered.
Tell me.
I'm not going to tell you. They'll have it on film. First Mickey sheet music. This is probably one of the very first Mickey sheet music. Betty Boop sheet music. The Alice in Wonderland cutouts. From the film, from the 1934 film with Charlotte Henry. Magazines used to have wonderful stuff in them for kids to cut out. More sheet music. This is the envelope to the Singing Lady Circus. It's set up there on that shelf with all those tin toys. Little Abner Daisy May, one of the endless variations of cutout dolls of them. This is Orphan Annie Circus, mint and complete. And I'll just give you a tiny peek. Well, it came in a book like so. And if you wanted to swing your camera around, it's right up there in the middle shelf. You would wait forever. And boy, you were not disappointed. Little Orphan Annie cutouts, many of them. Andy Gump sheet music. More Annie paper dolls, later ones. This was a certificate you got when you bought a war bond for Disney during the Second World War. This is the official New York World's Fair pictorial map for the 1939 World's Fair. And bloody hell, if Tony Sarg didn't do this too.
Cool.
And that year, he did the puppet show at the World's Fair. And his assistant was Bill Baird. So it all comes back to Tony Sarg, and this thing, I think, somehow folds out and makes it something even bigger.
He probably designed that too, huh?
Well, you know, he designed the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parades and all the balloons. These were called woodettes. And they were, oh God, I love this one. There's an even better one here. The J.L. Hudson Company had a whole department dedicated to these, all put together and painted beautifully. And in these boxes were all these little wooden parts, all cut to order, and again packed, each in its own place. There's the elephant's tail and tusks. And you would make these, and then with the watercolor chips, you would destroy them, attempt to paint them as beautifully as the ones you saw at the J.L. Hudson Company. But it was a whole department, and you know, unlike a toy store today, it would be there for 10 years. I mean, there would always be the woodette department. And this, which is a whole, you know, and each one of these, I wonder if there's figures in here. I wonder if these have been put together. Look at the way they're packed. I mean, there's no room to spare. And each came packed in its own house. And then you would open this up. And no plastic bags in those days. This bag, this envelope, carried all the pieces for that character. Okay, this is quite wonderful. Popeye paintograph. The device is called a pantograph, but Popeye paintograph. Well, it's got it all in here. The idea being the original pad with one done for you, all printed on there. The original crayons. Can you get this in the camera? The poor little bedraggled paintbrush. And the idea was this pad was full of pre-printed images of Popeye characters, and you would trace them with the pencil in Popeye's hand, and it would draw it for you. See, I'm going to do his eye here. It's actually drawing the eye down there. So in the days before a computer, this is how one could enlarge pictures. There was a Mickey version, but it was just a piece of machinery. The neat thing about this is that the figure's actually Popeye himself. And then you use these paints to color it, or crayons. Okay, this is the Zillograph. This is really early. Came with a screen, which is original. The idea being that one could project shadows on that screen. And then here's the set of animated animated puppets that did bizarre things.
You just pop that behind the screen.
They just pop behind the screen, and
Neat.
they're all exceedingly strange. This is my party piece, made in this. Here it is, folks. This is made of cardboard. The one thing I could do was this one. You know, the one. Well, here it is in cardboard. Okay, well, that's that. Imagine the labor that went into producing this toy. The rivets and everything, and it all came pre-assembled.
Cool. What would you backlight it with, a lamp?
Yeah, you'd put a lamp behind it, probably burn everything down in the process. This has got to be the only example of this in the world. It's just a kind of, it's seen better days. This great big cumbersome thing is the Little Abner Shooting Gallery. There were very few Little Abner products made. And like all the things of that era, of course, it's mostly made of cardboard. But it's set all up with all the characters in a complex. It needs a showcase in a complex setup where all these characters appeared in doorways, and then you'd shoot them. I'm sure that this fragmented bit of paper is the only one like it in the world. I'm certain of that. This is very cool. You're going to appreciate this. Still got the price on it. Early Dr. Seuss.
You said this is Dr. Seuss?
This is by Dr. Seuss. This was Ted Geisel before he did like Dr. Seuss, when he was doing things like that jigsaw puzzle.
Huh. Neat.
This is the Gulliver's Travels paper dolls. This is the deluxe boxed version. The box lid is downstairs in the showcase. This is, you don't know these characters, do you? This is the cutout version. One of my earliest memories was sitting in the living room cutting these out at probably the age of 3, butchering them naturally, as my mother was being carried down the stairs in a blanket to the emergency room. And I was little Melvin sitting there cutting out his paper dolls. This is interesting. This is a Skizik's coloring book. But what makes this and a lot of the early coloring books interesting is that they always had guides in them. Here was a picture and here was a blank space where some pretty talented kid copied that picture.
Is that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah. So the blank space was to copy the picture.
Interesting.
And this kid was pretty damn good. And then you copied the colors. So coloring books tended to have, you know, now they're just a cheap way to get away with cheap printing. But then coloring books had color in them. Here's another set of shadow puppets that are much more interesting than the other ones. Because these actually, not only did they show you the shadows and animate them, but they showed you how to do the same shadow with your hands.
And those move around too.
And they're animated. You could actually operate them.
Cool.
And then there's this amazingly graphic cover which really tells you how to do it. And then wooden animal playtime toys. They call them wooden. They are wooden actually. And they all fit together and make a jigsaw puzzle. At the same time, they come out and you can play with them.
That's pretty ingenious, huh?
Pretty damn clever, isn't it?
none of them look deformed.
They don't.
Well, some do. Some
Well,
don't.
yeah, pretty deformed in my book. But, and here, this is the printed guide, so you can have a guide to putting them back in place again. And then in these drawers and all around them is a wealth of, here's some pretty interesting paper. These really are very graphic, these paper masks, paper glasses. Really, graphically speaking, they're quite powerful. Farther back, again wrapped in plastic, these are the first Disney licensed products. These notebooks were the very first thing that he actually licensed. This would be 1930. And what I came back here to show you is to get this. I'm bringing it out. Okay, now we can sit down here. Okay, these are Mickey Mouse gum decorations for frieze, furniture, and dados. And here's the catalog that lists all the variations of all the characters they made. And then here, in pristine mint condition, are these amazingly beautiful images that were meant to stick to walls.
Are they stickers or are they like decals?
They're like stickers. They're like stickers, but they're on a gum surface, I guess. I don't think there's many of these around.
It's amazing how brand new they look.
That's because they are brand new. They've basically never seen the light of day. They're also totally unknown. I don't think there's anybody on Earth that's ever heard of these. Here's a predecessor to color forms, feltograms. The crazy thing is, the design is really incredible, isn't it? It's like the 20s, the essence of the 20s in design.
Ahead of its time.
Very much ahead of its time. It's like, and of course it became color forms. It's actually more graphic than color forms. It's really pretty amazing. And then there's all the felt pieces and a fuzzy board, and they certainly did give you enough of them.
Oh, wow.
It was a generous supply. But I love these drawings. They're really so 1920s high style design. Okay. This rings a bell. What is this? Oh, this is so strange and pretty wonderful, actually. This is a very, very early game. Can you see that? It consists of all these cards in which you insert these faces. So they're all cut out. And there's somehow numbered pieces. And this is part of it. I don't know what part that plays. And then there's a whole series of these cards, and you have to somehow, I don't know how the rules went, and they're not printed in the cover. These are interesting. These are Tony Sarg's. He did a whole series of books, but these books were quite amazing, and I knew them when I was a kid. This was the Tony Sarg Magic Movie book, and it came with glasses in which you flip the glasses. They've since disintegrated, but you flip. Here's a set that works. You flip the glasses and they change from red to green lenses, and then all of the illustrations, oh, it's so complicated. The illustrations could be changed, and they're printed in two colors. So it's a primitive form of moving picture with the two lens variations. That's one of his trick books. All of his books did some kind of trick. Tony Sarg's Nursery Surprise book. Well, these had surprises in it. Here was a pocket that contains a penny. It's still there. The penny is there. The penny was a big deal then. It was a lot of money. Here's a theater with a rotating scene. I mean, he was really a predecessor. They built whole books. Here's the Pet the Sheep. I used to see a book when my kids were little, Pet the Bunny. And obviously, this was its origin. Okay. Jack climbed up the beanstalk, and when he did, the giant appears in the window. Well, they all did something. I remember this page when I was a kid, for God's sake. There's the cow actually jumps over the moon, followed by a comet, and all the planets. As you wait in anticipation and see another second moon, and here comes the cow again. And this fiddle had an actual string that you could play. And the last page is stuck together. And that had...
An actual piece of pie in there?
Yes, it had a piece of candy. I'll put it back. I really shouldn't, but I'm going to put it back. And this was the grandest one of all. This was a Tony Sarg treasure book. And this thing, I mean, talk about breaking the mold. Look at this. It's in 3 dimensions. There's a screen in front of it. And and you turn this, and the scene animates. I mean, this book was a treasure. I'm going to have to take it out of the box to really see it. Okay. Here's the story pages. And I should have my glasses because I really can't see what the hell I'm doing, but... Alice's neck grows. That's much ado about very little. Gypsy's hat, primitive. And here, don't tell me there's more candy. The cripe is this. Jewels! It's jewels. It's a family jewels. That's what happened to them. Boy, I haven't seen that for a long time. Wow. And here is the last one is...
Well, that animates too somehow. Look at that.
Rip Van Winkle. And the little gnomes come up.
That is cool. These illustrations are beautiful.
Deep in the forest.
So that, what did that light up, that moon, you think?
Oh yeah, oh yes, it's a film. So you were meant to hold it up against the light and the moon would light up.
Oh, it had a face too.
And the other side had a face on it. Well, that's gone. That's gone, but this remains. And I can't think that there were very many of these left in the world today.
Many now, I would bet.
No.
That is cool. Can I see that ship animate one more time?
Sure.
The whole, everything animates, the parts of the waves.
And of course, yes, I see. And it's raining. So they got a screen in front of it.
And it loops, so you don't have to go the other way. That's cool. Really cool.
The Wizard of Oz. Books and puzzles. So there's a couple of jigsaw puzzles and a couple of books.
On those books.
Well, these are my favorite characters, Tick-Tock and Jack Pumpkinhead.
Can we look inside some of the books?
Sure. Well, you know Jack Pumpkinhead, I mean.
Look at the graphics on this. Illustrations. Cool.
And I loved the Gnome King. I thought he was so scary. You know, Bob prided himself on doing stories that weren't scary. Look at these illustrations. They're terrifying. I mean, here's TikTok falling apart on the floor. The Gnome King dancing with his... I love TikTok. It's such a cool character. Yeah, the puzzles were illustrated. I don't know what this is going to be. Oh. Yeah, this is something that, Jesus, I should deal with these things. This was this thing went together and it would construct a department store at Christmas time with all the pieces and the window displays. This is way before my day. And the counters and the toys.
Does that have a picture of the completed or direction?
No, I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. But, oh, God, look at this. And probably parts of two sets here. Here's Santa.
What age do you think this is? Same 20s and 30s?
I might be able to tell you because I think I'm coming across something here that looks like... Well, wait a minute. The other side of it is telling you stuff. It was the Snell Company Market in Philadelphia. Gosh.
That's cool.
Gosh, well, this is it. I think this is the whole store interior. That's the interior of the store.
That's great.
And here's the way it went together.
Cool.
Boy, talk about forgetting you have something. Totally forgot about this. Gee. And the other side would probably show what their Christmas windows look like outside.
Oh, that is fantastic. Can you imagine if shops still made those kind of displays? I don't think... Does anybody make them that elaborate anymore, do you think?
They might.
Can I see?
Sure.
I guess that time of the year, you want to... you're talking about Christmas time?
Yeah.
Do it? This is cool. Very cool.
I don't know if there's a date on this, but it's certainly before my time. That is cool. My God, I'm glad I looked at this stuff. 4 comedians with dancing feet and moving eyes. Well, they're not in there, but I know that one of them is Chaplin, and he's up there in that box.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the policeman is up there, too.
Paper one or the thicker one?
A big, large cardboard one. Gee, there's some great stuff in here. I love this little thing. I remember this. This is a garland of stars and stripes. Here's a beautiful set of boats.
Look at that.
Isn't that incredible? Boy, that's wonderful.
Now, what would the strings do? Were they just the decoration?
That's the rigging. That's the rigging. Made in Japan, of course.
It's a lot of fun.
Wow, so delicate. I won't try to address myself to these or I'll have a disaster. There we are. Little tugs.
Oh man, that is so cool.
Boy, I bet this sold for 50 cents back in its day. Definitely made in Japan. Here's a game I've always loved. I have 2 versions on it. The game of Nosy. Ooh! The hell is this doing in there?
What is that, a crab?
Yeah! It's an insect that crawled in.
You got insects like that? You need to tell me.
This is
That's disgusting.
this is the nose. This is supposed to be the mustache down there. In other words, this is the top.
Several functions.
It doesn't go this way. Okay. In here are the cards, you see. And here's all the characters. It's sort of like dominoes. And if you lose, you have to wear the nose. And the nose was attached to this pair of glasses, this wire-rimmed glasses, and an elastic. I'll put that back there. I don't know why that is there.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I know how you hate creepy. And here's another version.
Another level.
Here's another version of it with a different style nose.
Oh yeah, that one's cool. That's really cool. Oh, that one doesn't. That picture doesn't look any better than. Look at that picture. Jeez Louise.
Okay, nosy. The game of nosy. All right. The rest of this stuff looks mundane by comparison. Popeye bubble set, Popeye soap in the Popeye wash tub, and the Popeye bubble pipes. It only works with that soap. I have two. This is a more deluxe set. Has two tubs arranged differently with fillers of wimpy and olive oil in it. Good name for a game. Down and Out. This was a popular game on the Bowery in New York. And this is it, folks. This is it. Okay, you have to obviously take this thing out of here. And then you have to, I see, you know, it would mount on these holes. Oh, these holes, these two holes. And then you would...
Cool. Chutes and ladders almost.
Oh, that was quick.
Mousetrap, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, obviously, some kind of down and out. Probably the fate of the guy that designed it. These are really nice burnt wood blocks. They're all animal pictures.
That's cool. Are they all four-sided or one-sided?
Yeah, I think that they're all four-sided. And if you get the light just right, you see, then you appreciate the graphics on them.
Yeah.
They're almost like secret graphics. But just do this. If I can do it without breaking things.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Pinocchio puzzles by Tony Sarg, which captured his dubiously semi-repulsive style. Wonderful. This is wonderful. This is a very sophisticated box of practical jokes. Never used, never used. Oh, there's some wonderful things in here. Like here's the old nail through your finger gag.
I don't like that.
You see that? Ow!
Oh, no.
God! Ah! It wiggles.
Oh.
As if you needed to.
That looks really
And here it is, not through your finger, you see.
Oh,
So if you're adept at sleight of hand, you can show it before and after.
nice.
Okay. This is a magic
Chocolate bar.
milk chocolate. Well, obviously, it's something nasty. I don't know what. This would blow smoke rings. This thing would, obviously, you would puff smoke in there and it would blow smoke rings out again. It's something that was meant to snap one's finger, I gather. La Rienne cigarettes. See, it's called La Rienne, meaning nothing in French, That's because they only look like they're cigarettes. They're actually just one embossed piece. So, and there's what this is. Toilettes. You look and you see yourself, you see. Very subtle. This is clearly German, clearly German humor. And this is, oh great. I fell for it. The idea, there's something in German that says something about with your finger, your digit.
Gotcha.
This is, I told you, it's German humor. It makes your finger dirty, and that's the joke. What?
Back up.
These are actual matches.
You think they don't go out?
I don't know. I got ancient matches here. What the hell is this?
Go with the matches somehow?
I have no idea what that is. Obviously, there must have been an instruction sheet. Oh, this is a pencil with a rubber lead in it.
That's the card. You almost fell for it twice.
And here, it's incredibly graphic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the same thing, toilette. So one, you, I guess, show them this, and then they're supposed to see themselves, and then you show them this, and then they see this, or something like that.
You give them a match.
Well, that's a load of laughs, isn't it? But of course, the fact that it's all pristine and perfect is quite amazing. Well, these were very wonderful, these things, and I've punched out a set of them, and they're up there on the shelf. And they did Disney characters just as geometric shapes, purely abstract, and captured the characters perfectly. This is the original box for the Cyberling rubber. Big Bad Wolf and the Three Pigs. Oh, we're coming down to some nice stuff. Rolo Boco. Very graphic stuff. This is, oh my God, I don't believe it. This is where you're supposed to roll this thing over the profiles and somehow get it around the corners without losing it. And then here's all of the characters you rolled it on.
Those are comic characters too?
Well, they're standard issue comical characters. You know, I never realized what one did with that before. Here's a very nice graphic set of Kitty's books with one thing and another. The Junior Cartoonist. Whoa. Well, this looks complicated. Here's a series, here's a screen, and you put pictures under it and trace it onto the screen.
What is this called?
Junior Cartoonist. But curiously enough, the images appear in the first animated cartoon by Emil Cole. I've seen those images before. Here's the very pretty set, the Stickum Library. Someone stuck them. Somebody stuck my Stickum Library. There's nothing. Mommy, this is used. Popeye party game. Okay. Lovely jigsaw puzzle, which is patterned after the Disney Christmas card. There's one other thing I'd like to get to here because it's pretty graphically great.
Oh, wow.
Here it is, damn it! been looking for these. I knew I had this. I knew I had it. Oh my God, I looked for this. It's a Aesop's Movie Fables handkerchief book. And I would have put it on my website if I had it. Look. It's very delicate and beautiful. And inside are these amazing handkerchiefs. Each page was an Aesop's Movie Fables
Can you
handkerchief.
open that a little wider? Or is it gonna, would it damage if you went all the way open with it?
No.
Okay, there we go. And those are actual cloth.
These are actual cloth hankies. I knew I had this. I spent days looking for it until I began to hallucinate that maybe I didn't have it. Well, they're all quite wonderful.
Beautiful.
Okay, Popeye ring toss, that's nothing special. But I think that this set is quite wonderful. If it's what no, it's not what I thought it was. Oh, maybe it is. Yes. Yes, 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 it is. It is. Let me move these over. This is so graphic. So great. Oh, I love this thing. I don't know how it works exactly, but some sort of game. But the imagery in it is just so incredibly exciting to me. I wonder if the instructions are inside the lid as to what one did with it. It's the smiling face, the happiness game. And here's the instructions. Well, this is it, folks. It does.
Oh
But
my
what-
gosh, it does.
But what a nicely styled imagery on there. You know, I just think the imagery is just great. Well, I like it anyway. Yeah,
Just trying to figure out how
had
that
to be
goes
there.
together.
I think you, I don't know. Look at the pictures. You put these pegs into place here, and then you're supposed to throw these things
Oh man.
at this thing and hope that they catch on a peg. So just these little knobs stick out. No, it's not. It's terrible. Even I wouldn't try to design a game like
Get
this.
one every 8 hours.
Yeah.
My battery's officially toast.
Okay. These were meant to decorate schoolrooms, but graphically speaking, they're really dynamic. And it made up kind of frieze, I guess, that one would decorate the schoolroom with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Aren't they amazing?
Oh,
Yeah,
those
they
are
are.
beautiful.
There's Mickey.
That's why he got it. Is there more?
Yeah.
Or
Wow.
double? They open up.
Boy, is
Wider.
this is really, these are really,
Very cool.
these are so brittle. Okay, folks, here we are. We've made some headway.
Cool.
Will you ever do more?
Yeah. Would you ever do more? That's the
Sure.
question. So
I'll leave it right here.
of everything that everything we got through, how much more do you think there is?
Well, there's the rest of this case. There's the rest of this case. There's those two cases. There's cases over there.
Yeah.
There's drawers. A couple good things in drawers over there. There's the bookcases over there. And the bookcase downstairs. Oh, and there's that bookcase over here, which has some pretty good stuff in it.